Welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. I'm Jessica Stutzman. Today, we have a show prepared for you on my favorite topics: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Parents, grandparents, and teachers, the twist on today's show is that we are going to tackle this topic in a way that will help those students that are not in the classroom but being homeschooled due to the COVID-19 pandemic learn more about the 3 R's. Joining me to present this virtual lesson on recycling is the new Environmental Sustainability Coordinator for Erie County, Lynn Armel. Lynn, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, and I know this is your favorite topic as well, but you have only recently joined the county, and I would just like you to share with my viewers a little bit about your background and your new position at the county.
Great. So I am born and raised in Erie. I got my undergrad here at Gannon in health science, and then went on to do AmeriCorps at a local nonprofit. I then got my master's in sustainable international development and actually got to live and work in Kenya, to getting my practicum there. And then I came back to Erie, and I'm so excited to be almost a year into this role.
Wonderful. And that must have been, a great experience you had. I know that you were abroad. And how exciting was that?
Yeah, it was great. It definitely gives you a lot of perspective on just the differences between cultures, and they do a lot of creative things with trash over there. That there's things that we waste here that would never go to waste there, and it was really great to see that ingenuity.
Well, so I know we are going to talk about reuse and reduce. Before we dive into that, for our homeschooling children out there, how have your efforts with recycling education all been affected by the pandemic?
So normally I would be going into schools, having tabling events where I would go to various events and just pass out information, answer any questions on recycling. But this year, so many of those events were canceled. My classroom spots were also canceled. So I'm really excited to be here to share some information to parents.
And you had to get a little creative during the time where we were all quarantined at home. I know you did some virtual spots with WQLN.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, so I did a series of on WQLN Homeschool where I was doing something similar, just teaching about reduce, reuse, recycle, and sustainability, and how kids can get involved to be stewards of our planet.
And how many of those spots did you do, and how did you get them to be active participants at home?
So I did a few crafts like with recycling, and I just tried to be more animated and make games about sorting trash and recycling. So yeah.
You're giving me some tips to think about. I know in Millcreek we want to create some virtual lessons as well, and pushing those out to like the kindergarten, maybe preschool, kindergarten level, and also to the middle school level. I know that in middle school in Millcreek Township, they learn about recycling. It's a chapter in their book, and I love going into the classroom to talk to them and show them videos on the material recovery facility. So we're looking at going virtual as well. So I think there's a lot of collaboration to be had, and we can all take notes from each other. So just moving forward with our 3 R's, what are the main takeaways that students should learn from our lesson today?
So I think the main thing is teaching the next generation to be responsible consumers and stewards of the earth, and how to recycle right in their homes and their schools. I know in recent years there's a lot of confusion around recycling. So if we can get the information into the homes through young people, then I think that's a great way to do it.
And what is the right way to recycle in Erie County? I'm sure you get a lot of those phone calls every single day.
Right. So it varies by municipality, which I know that you know. So we've gone through all of the municipalities and what they accept and found 9 things that are recyclable in every municipality. So if you recycle those 9 things, you know that you're recycling right. And I think it's better to recycle properly and recycle less than to put things in there that you don't know whether or not they're recyclable.
I agree. And what is that 9 to know? We're going to put a graphic here on the screen, but what's that 9 to know?
So newspaper, full-size office paper, cardboard, paperboard boxes, and then plastic bottles, jugs, and jars with a twist-off lid, and then aluminum drink cans and metal food cans. Some of the common things that get put in the recycle bin that shouldn't be are plastic bags, plastic cups or tubs, anything with food contamination, shredded paper, styrofoam, pizza boxes that have grease on them, those kinds of things.
And I like students and residents to know that it's very simple. A lot of the things actually come from the grocery store, and if it's not something, I'm just looking here at the list, the aluminum drink cans. Of course, aluminum cans and pop cans are recyclable, but I will have somebody who has an aluminum snow stake, and they will want that to be recycled in their curbside bin. I just think that doesn't come from the grocery store. That probably isn't a good fit for our curbside program either.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
So, and then again, with the plastics, we don't go by the number system anymore. That doesn't seem to really help our material recovery facility or our MRF. And so with plastics, again, really stick to the bottles, jugs, and jars, because the broken plastic toys, the broken lawn chairs, again, that just doesn't really fit the curbside program. So what are some lessons that parents can do at home with their children? I'm starting to think now, my daughter is 2 years old, turning 3, and she's understanding now the difference that there's 2 trash cans in the house. One's blue and one's black. And so I'm kind of thinking also, to take some of these lessons home for her.
Great. So I think the first one is reduce and rethink. That should always be the first priority. So trying to think how you can be a more responsible consumer, how you can purchase things that are reusable and avoid single-use plastic. So buying products in bulk rather than in small containers, reusable bags, water bottles, coffee cups, utensils, and straws, using cloth rather than paper towels, avoid products that have excessive packaging, and try to repair rather than replace all broken items. And then also donating materials to charity is another great option. So if you do have plastic toys that are left over, I think that's a great lesson to teach kids as well, that they can do something good besides throwing those items away. The next one would be reuse. I think this is probably the funnest one for me, at least, because there's so many things that you can do with things that would typically go in the trash. By doing this, you could conserve energy and raw materials needed to make new products, and the whole system of production and transporting these materials and commodities to make new materials. So beyond reusing containers for food storage, you can make some really creative Halloween costumes. I recently saw like a jetpack made out of bottles. There's also a cool one I saw was snack containers out of the creamer plastic containers that
That's
you
a
get
great
at the
idea
grocery
because
store.
we go through some Ziploc baggies. You know, you're always on the go and whatnot,
Yeah.
so that would be a good one. And you know, it actually fits probably in the little cup holder in their
Yeah.
car seat. When you mentioned the jetpack, when Lola's first Halloween, our family, we scuba dive and we took a Pepsi bottle and we repurposed it, and it was her scuba tank on her back when she was a scuba diver for Halloween. So that was a fun one. And recently, I've had her paint some old coffee cans, old coffee tins, and she painted them black for Halloween and for the holidays, and so we're going to make a little lantern out of those. So those are some fun, creative ideas we've had at home recently. Do you have any other reuse ideas that I'm not thinking about?
So one that I love is, there's going to be a visual of it, but a laundry detergent beach bucket and a laundry detergent watering can, I think, are really practical, great ways to reuse as well. You can incorporate a reuse craft into teaching other things, doing a collage on a certain topic.
Absolutely. And I know this is probably more an adult craft than a student or children's craft, but they certainly can all help. But I love redoing furniture. Furniture that looks like it's on its last leg. We glue it back together and we paint it and we make it look brand new. So, and then let's move on to the recycling end of things.
Sure. So recycling basically means taking materials that you're finished using and making brand new products with them. For example, most aluminum cans in the US are made from recycled aluminum. One activity that you could do related to recycling would be a sorting game to help your children understand what goes in the recycling bin and get excited about getting it right.
Yes, we've done in the past with some Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops, and this is outside because it can get very loud. You set up a blue bin for recycling, a black bin for trash, and sometimes, depending on the age, we set up a green bin for composting. You can either set out, like the plastic fruits and veggies and the real items, or you can have pictures of those items. And we do a relay race with the students. So I love that game. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's great. Online, there's also a lot of printout activities, coloring pages, those kinds of things that you can easily pull to do as an activity at home.
And what do you think as far as litter cleanups? Do you think that's hard for a family to get together and do around the neighborhood?
I've gotten mixed responses. I think it depends on the family. I personally love doing litter cleanups. I think it's a great way to get outside and appreciate nature. And even if it's just around your yard, I think that really instills stewardship for the earth by cleaning up and feeling responsible for keeping the area where you live clean and free of litter.
And one thing, again, I want to talk about, going back to the reduce topic, actually. We'll have a graphic here on the screen again, but switching from some one-time use plastics to, again, over and over and over. So items that you can reuse many, many times. What are some switches that people, students and adults, can make in their everyday lives?
So utensils, taking utensils with you, especially straws, saying no to a straw when you go to a restaurant if you don't really need one. Also reusable bags. They're coming out with some really cute reusable like Ziploc bags that you can wash and reuse several times. Of course, there's the reusable shopping bags as well, water bottles, coffee cups.
My favorite is the straw. I do love using a straw. I can't help that. So instead of, taking the plastic straw, I do bring my own. I have metal for myself and silicone straws for my daughter since she's little. And we have a nice little carrying case for them.
Yeah.
And that seems to work really well for us. And then when we're done, we put it back in the carrying case, go home and wash it in the dishwasher. But that was a very, very simple, easy switch for us to make. And I think with students learning about these things at such a young age, I'm hoping it just becomes second nature. And so when she becomes a teenager or an adult, that she's not making all of these switches. It's something that's already been incorporated every single day.
Right, yeah. And I think that's a great point. You can have, create your own little to-go kit and have everything you need to dine out without single-use plastics in your car and ready to go.
So if we're talking about, and again, everyone's homeschooling or virtual learning right now, but say we are sending our kids to school, what's the best way to pack a zero waste lunch? Do you have any ideas?
Sure. So there's some great graphics online for this as well. But just using reusable containers, not packing plastic silverware or straws. Also, like I said earlier, if you can buy things in bulk, so instead of buying a bunch of really small individualized single-use plastic containers for fruit, maybe you buy a can of fruit and then put it in your reusable container.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
And where can parents find more resources, to teach their children about the 3 R's?
Great. So the DEP has a great education page. If you search in your search bar, DEP just for kids, it should bring up a page that has various activities and simple explanations for kids of different ages. They also have some interactive computer games on there, which is really great. I think they do a good job of breaking things down and explaining things, and I think that is one great place to go. For older kids, I think the Story of Stuff videos are really great. You can just search that in YouTube, and there's stories of a bottled water, and that will take you through from the extraction of crude oil and natural gas to make plastic all the way to the end of life for it. So I think those are really interesting and just great videos. But I would say those are for middle school and older. One thing that I think is really interesting for everyone are virtual tours of recycling centers or material recovery facilities, and it really gives you a look into how complex the process of recycling is and why it's so important to recycle properly in your curbside bins, because there can be issues with these huge machines that are sorting all of these recyclables. So I think that is a really great way to start understanding recycling.
I have also seen, again, doing a lot of learning at home, sometimes, more like web-based, but there are so many wonderful trash and recycling books being read out loud on the different social media platforms. So that's really cool to tune into, and, students really love that of all ages. So is there anything you want to mention about Erie County recycling moving forward into 2021?
Our monthly household hazardous waste and electronic waste collections that are open to all residents of Erie County. They take place on the second Saturday of every month, and this is where you can bring old TVs or antifreeze or used oil, all sorts of things. You can find out more details on our website, which is eriecountypa.gov/recycling. So there's that. We're also looking into pilot a glass collection, a drop-off facility for that. So that's in the works as well. So I think those are two things that are great to get out there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all of that information. Is there any last parting thought you want to give our viewers on recycling or just sustainability in general?
I think it's really great to get kids involved in this early, and really good to help them understand how what they do impacts our environment, and how they can reduce any harmful impact by recycling, by cleaning up litter, by just having a respect for the earth and taking care of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, my daughter, I think she accidentally threw something on the ground, and I went running after it. I said, we can't litter, we can't litter. And she said, what is litter? And I thought, oh, we need to have this talk. So I think starting kids as early as possible, too, is a great age to start this conversation. They definitely understand it. And, kids, I think, inherently want to help, their parents and their classmates. So we're excited to get the next generation of recyclers going here in Erie County. So Lynn, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Viewers, we have learned a lot of things we can do at home while we are learning virtually, or maybe just on the weekends. We want you to go to the Erie County Recycling website and just know that there are so many neat crafts and activities, but it's very, very important to reduce, reuse, and recycle. It means a lot to both Erie County and Millcreek Township. Thank you so much for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.